I'm Rod. Thanks for stopping by. Well, I'm going to start my next project. It's going to be a UKUTELE or an UKUTELE, however you want to pronounce it. But first, I wanted to do one more quick update on the Stradalele. I made one more change to it, made a world of difference. When I built this, I put strings on it and I tuned it as a tenor, G, C, E, A. But it's a baritone size. And for me to get the notes just right on the G and the A string, they had to be pretty tight. So it hurt when you push the strings down, and they're really kind of hard to push down. So I pulled the strings off of it and I strung it like a baritone, D, G, B, E, which is exactly the same as your standard electric guitar. You just don't have the top E and A string. Other than that, it's the same thing. It's a lot easier to play. The strings are a lot easier to push down, and it sounds 1,000 times better. The intonation was a whole lot better. Not exact, but it's better. But anyway, I just wanted to give you that quick update on how I changed it. Sounds a whole lot better. So let me change the camera angle and we'll start on that UKUTELE. Well, that wasn't much of a camera angle change. I just wanted to give you a rundown of what I'm going to attempt to do. Now, when I made the Stradalele, I had to cut the body out by hand. Well, since then, I bought a 20-watt laser engraver cutter. Made a world of difference. So I went ahead and I made and cut out my pattern for the UKUTELE with the center line on it, dead center. And I went ahead and made the body. I didn't want to go through all that again. I went ahead and did that. There's the body right here. And I'm going to use again a cigar box neck, and this is going to be a soprano size. So it's going to go just like that. Looks pretty good. But I'm not going to bolt the neck on or glue the neck on like I did the Stradalele. That was a good idea, but it was a bad idea because the neck on the Stradalele really needs to be pitched about 0.25 degree or half a degree because the action is still too high. So what I want to do with this is I want to make a heel for it, and I want to attach it to this body just like you would any other guitar. So with the laser engraver, I cut out a heel pattern right here, and it's going to go like that. So what I'm going to do is I've got some mahogany, and I'm going to make a heel out of that mahogany and attach it to the neck. And I'm going to drill a hole in it and put a steel rod down through it to have some type of a mechanical bond, so when it's on the body of the guitar and it's pulling, it won't pull it out. I also went ahead and cut out my pattern for the neck pocket, and it fits right on it. And this fits really tight. Fits in like a glove. Right there, and it's at an angle like a dovetail, so when I put it in, it's not going to pull out. And I'll be able to put a neck shim in it if I need to kick it up. So let me get everything set up and we'll cut out the heel for the neck. Okay, I've got the heel drawn out, and I want to cut a little bit outside the line, and then I'll put it on the table router and route it out. All right, let me get the router and route it out. Okay, I had to cut it again. I had some chip out on the other one. That's okay. I got a good one here. It's going to go on just like that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to mark the neck, and I'm going to cut that portion off right here. There we go. Okay, I got that cut. I got that cut off. That looks pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark center on this block. I'm going to drill a hole in the center, and I'm going to mark it on the neck. That way I can stick a steel rod through it. So let me get this marked out and we'll drill a hole in it. Okay, I'm going to drill a 3/16 hole in the center. I'm going to use a brass rod. I don't have any steel rod, but brass will work. I mean, that's just to give it some a little bit more strength right there at the seam where I want to glue it together. There we go. Okay, I got my block centered up on the neck. I'm going to take my drill, go through the center, and mark the neck. And there we go. I'm going to drill it just a little bit deeper. That's just enough for the brass rod to catch onto it. That way, when I put tension on it, the neck won't want to lift up. So let me cut the brass rod, and we're going to glue it all together. Okay, now we're going to glue on the heel, let it dry, and then we'll move on. Okay, well, I got the neck strapped up and the heels drying that I glued on there. I'm going to go ahead and route out the neck pocket. Well, I had to go back with my carving knife and carve out the corners. They weren't sharp enough. The router bit wasn't sharp enough for the corner, so I got that carved out. This side I knocked off a little bit, but that's okay because this is actually wider than the neck. I was going to have to sand that off anyway, so that's okay. Well, as soon as the neck dries, we'll fit it on here and then contour everything, make it fit just right, and then bolt it on. Go from there. Okay, it's dry and I got the heel on it right here, and I've already sanded this part to get this smoothed in with that, with the neck there. And I'm going to do the same thing to this side. I've already hit it with the rasp file. I need to get a little bit closer. So I just got some 120 grit sandpaper on a paint stick, and I'm just going to sand it down and smooth it out and get it contoured, put it back in the body, and then we'll take a look at it. So let me get this done and we'll put it in the body and I'll show what it looks like and we can go from there. Okay, I got that done. I've got it sanded on the edges, contoured a little bit, and it fits perfectly right in the neck, and it is straight. What I have to do now is I have to take a pen and mark this a little bit and then contour the edge of the body here to go into that spot. So let me get set up with that. I got to figure out exactly how I'm going to do it, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how I'm going to do it, or how I hope to do it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've got them marked where it goes, and right here I want to take my bandsaw and I'm going to cut just outside the line down to here and right there. Then I'll get my oscillating barrel sander and I'll smooth it out, and then I can take some sandpaper and round it over. There we go. Let me get my barrel sander set up and we'll sand that off. Okay, let me sand this up and see how it turns out. All right, that looks pretty good right there. I gotta sand this part right here by hand because I don't want to get too far into it, and then we can contour it out. All right, there we go. That looks pretty good. I still got a little cut mark right here, but I can sand that out with a file or a rasp file or something. But other than that, it looks pretty good. There's the back of it right there. I got a little spot right here that I'm going to hand sand with a small stick to get it closer to the heel. I also need to take and run the heel across a joiner. I need to thin this down a little bit, and I made it thicker on purpose so I could get the neck and the heel that I added even. So I'm going to call it a day for today. I'm going to come back tomorrow and we'll do that. Okay, now what I need to do is I need to run this across my joiner and smooth this out and thin it down just a little bit. Okay, I've got my electric hand planer or joiner on its side because the neck will not fit across the top of my tabletop joiner. It's too short. So I'm just going to take and run it across this way and hope I can get it as flat as possible. I know it's not the smartest thing to do, but it's the only way that I have to do it right now. And that'll work right there. Okay, I went ahead and screwed the neck on so we can measure out the scale length for the bridge. Now I'm going to do something different on this one. It's something I didn't do on the Stradalele, which is why I can't get the intonation exactly right on the Stradalele. So let me change the camera angle and I'll show you what I'm going to do different. All right, I got it on the table, and the scale length on the soprano is 13.5 inches. So I'll measure from inside the nut, go down here 13.5, 13.5, mark it. That is my scale length right there, 13.5. Okay, I've got the scale length marked out, and what I'm going to do different on this one that I didn't do on the Stradalele, which I should have done, is that when I measured the scale length on the bridge on the Stradalele, the saddles were moved back. In other words, the screws were, you know, up inside the saddle a little bit, and I measured it. So I lost about 1/8 to almost 1/4 of an inch of length to stretch the string out to get the intonation right. So on this one, I'm going to move the saddles as far forward as I can. So I'm going to take the screw and I'm going to screw it out just till it gets inside the saddle. Like that. Now I've gained a little bit of distance. Now when I put it on the scale length, if they were back here, it would move up a little bit. Now that I've got to move forwards, I can move this back, which is going to give me extra space back here to adjust the intonation. And I didn't do that on the Stradalele, which is why the intonation is slightly off. Well, I got my little router pattern for my bridge and my pickup. I'm going to go ahead and get this stuck on there, and then we'll come back and route out the pickup pocket. Okay, I got the pickup pocket routed in. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a little nail and I'm going to mark the holes for the pickup screws. Now, on the last one I was having problems getting the ferrules just right. They were touching. Well, on this pattern, there is a set of string spacing holes right here, which are a little bit wider than those, which is what's going to keep my ferrules from touching on the back side. So I'm going to mark those right now. Alright, I got all those marked. Now what I need to do is figure out where my controls are going to go and then figure out where I'm going to put the pocket. So let me figure that out. We'll come back and route the pocket for the controls. Okay, I think this is where I'm going to put the controls, right here on the bottom. So I'm going to just mark a circle where I want them. Alright, now I'm going to measure this out, and I'm going to make the pattern on my light burn program for my laser. Let me do that. We'll come back and we'll laser cut the pattern for the control pocket. Okay, I've got my pattern for my pickup pocket in my light burn program. I'm going to go ahead and laser cut them out. Alright, there it is. This is the pattern for my controls. Drill the holes. That'll do the pocket. Now I need to cut out the control cover pattern. Okay, I got my program for the control cover pattern, and we'll go ahead and cut that out. Alright, there's this one. Let me punch everything out and we'll take a look and see how they match up. Okay, so I got my router patterns cut out. I got my control pocket, and I've got the router pattern for the control cover. But I'm going to do all this off camera. I don't want to be repetitive. I've done all this before on the Stradalele. So I want to get the body all ready to go for Bondo and everything, because I'm going to finish it completely different. So let me get this done. We'll come back and go from there. Okay, I've got all my pockets cut in. I've got my pickup pocket cut in. I've got the control pocket cut in with the lip for the cover. The holes are in it. I still need to do a little bit of contouring on the neck there, and again, I'm not going to film all that or record all that because I've done it before in the past. Really what I'm going to get to is the finish I'm going to put on it, because I'm going to hydro dip this one. So let me get finished sanding it and putting the Bondo on it. I'm going to prep the body, and then we're going to come back and put some hydro dip on it. Never done that before. We're going to give it a shot. We're going to see what happens. Well, I guess this is going to have to be a two-parter. I'm already up to about 16 minutes on this one. I don't like going over 12 minutes, but I've already got the Bondo on the body. I need to let it dry some more so I can prep it for the hydro dip. And I'm also waiting on the hydro dip film. It was supposed to be here, and it's not here yet. So as soon as I get that, we're going to come back and hydro dip it and finish it off, put it together. So hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one.